Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Kurt, and welcome back to Far Lands or Bust. Woof. Woof indeed, Wolfie. There he is. There he is. Oh, let's get out. Oh, let's go back in. Change my mind. This is an interesting conundrum we have found ourselves in. But that's the way we want to go, right? Yep. Let's let them burn. Burn you will. And while we wait for that, we will welcome everybody to episode 460 of that and this Far Lands or Bust. What happened to your health there, Wolfie? Get a health increase job. Get a healthcare job. Whoa. Indeed, but yeah, it's there. There you go. It's episode 460. It is Monday, March 16th, 2015. And like I said, as we pick up this skeleton residue, I don't know why I call it that. It sounds funny. Residue is a funny word. Residue? Residont. Maybe. But as we continue on here in episode 460, we are continuing to raise money for Child's Play charity at farlandsorbust.com. Yes, I was able to secure the .com domain for Far Lands or Bust. And on that webpage that I so personally coded myself, hand-coded. It's artisanal. Such a hipster web designer. Good lord. You can donate to Child's Play charity. There is a widget there that lets you know where we're at with the current donations, and you can click donate and donate yourself. Straight to Child's Play charity, excuse me. Where you can learn more about Child's Play charity at childsplaycharity.org. But yeah, farlandsbust.com is where you want to donate. And when we raise $50,000 this season for season 5, hence $50,000, we will hold the Flobathon live stream, at the end of which I will finally press F3, which tells us our coordinates and our latest distance from the center of the map. And look at this crazy, precariously perched protuberance over here. It's kind of neat. Kind of neat, I say. I declare. Woof. Woof indeed. It's like a mountain started, but then it changed its mind. No, on second thought, I think I'll just not do much about that and just be kind of a solid cliff face. But anyway, we are continuing on, like I said, and I didn't give the updated number for our Child's Play charity fundraiser. We are at $32,630.74, so I do appreciate the continued donations. We are continuing walking west to the Far Lands. I continue to have less than full health, because what did I do? Oh, I got attacked by some skeletons in the last episode, didn't I? I was undertaking a what's it called? A dungeon that gave me nothing because there were no chests. I demand rewards when I take on a spawner, but not that time. Indeed. So we got a donation from an anonymous donor. Oh, by the way, for those wondering, if you do donate to Child's Play charity, first of all, thank you very much. But secondly, you can ask a question. There's a comment box that you can type a. Careful, Wolfie! Oh, there's that spawning into leaves. I think it was probably the leaves that did that. You can leave a question in the comment box. Wolfie? There he is. And make sure to leave a name with that, because by default, and for good reason, honestly, I think it's good on them, Child's Play, they make all of the donations by default anonymous, so if you haven't changed those settings to not be anonymous, then you can leave your name in the comment box, your YouTube name, your nickname, whatever, just so that I can attribute your question to somebody. But this person may have forgotten, but they had a generous donation and asked, do you think that the mainstream media, or why do you think, the mainstream media gives such limited coverage to space news? Space news! Space news. What news sources do you read to keep up to date? Well, it's partly a kind of a marketing problem on the side of space like NASA, space agencies, because NASA, being a government agency, can't traditionally advertise. Disco Stew doesn't advertise, but yeah, so they can't like take out advertising for public awareness. Oh, Wolfie! I got in the rain, the crossfire there. Did you see that? He pushed me forward by like 3 blocks. But yeah, they can't advertise. I mean, they have obviously press and stuff like that, of which you can sometimes argue that they don't do the best of jobs themselves, getting the news out about missions and discoveries. But I think that the biggest problem is that traditional news isn't interested in space news unless there's like a disaster. Notice how all the media suddenly perked up their ears when that Antares rocket exploded off the launch pad, and there was a marked increase. You know, suddenly all the news, you know, for the actual launch itself, had it been a successful launch, there were, you know, just the side crews of the local affiliates of news stations that were down there to cover the launch itself. But once it exploded, the national news converged on the area. So it's sensationalism, the way that our news these days is sensationalist. The 24-hour news cycle. And I mean, even back in the Apollo days, obviously Apollo 11 was very heavily covered for news, but even by Apollo 12 and 13, they noticed a very huge loss of interest from the news media, and then subsequently the general public as a whole. So it's kind of come from all angles, and I think that's a good thing that NASA has been doing is these NASA socials. They've definitely they've even won awards for being the top social media savvy government agency out there. But yeah, they need to increase awareness, and I suppose, you know, maybe it would come. I'm not sure how much the news media would listen to us, but you know, you can even write to your local or even national news media to say, hey, I want more coverage of these things. I would watch your programs. I would read your articles if you covered more of the what is considered, I suppose, non-sensationalist views of space and science and technology. I'm not sure, you know, it's tough to say. Obviously, they're far more interested in trivial things, gossipy things, shocking things, scare tactics, because that's what gets views and things. But if you do want to follow space news, there are obviously dedicated space news outlets, websites, even web series. There's the Hank Green. Yeah, Hank Green and his SciShow. Has now SciShow Space is like a YouTube channel, and there's other YouTube channels and things. Spaceflightnow.com is kind of the one website that I follow that tends to track all the major and even minor space launches. You know, everything from the big Dragon capsules going to the International Space Station to just smaller European satellite launches or Japanese satellite launches that are just commercial, and they'll always try to find and host a live feed of those launches, and you can get nice articles and news about updates about upcoming launches. That's Spaceflight Now. There's also NASA Spaceflight that obviously centers a little bit more around NASAspaceflight.com. NASA.gov. You can always just follow the pertinent people and names on the social medias. Astronauts, as of late, and even for a while, have been fairly active, incredibly active on social media. So it's really cool to follow like astronauts I've gotten myself into a pickle here, haven't I? Oh God, Wolfie! Whoa! Did you see that? It's hard. I know it's hard for you guys to tell, but I wasn't pressing the buttons there as I was in my inventory. Wolfie was pushing me off the edge. You noodle? You crazy noodle? Let's actually get you up to full health, just in case some sort of precariously perched problem befalls us, literally befalls us, and then I suppose we've kind of found ourselves here as the sun sets, so let's make an elevated hidey hole. Good gravy. Good gravy, indeed. Let's do this. Yeah, I'm kind of all turned around, too. I want to be going that way, but there's cliff sides. I suppose I can go up and around. Down there seems like it might be safe. Whew! Alright, so a little bit of a spooky scariness there, but no thanks to Wolfie. Let's go to sleep and continue walking in the morning. And don't fall off the cliffness. Don't fall off the cliffness indeed. Woof! Let's go this way. Wolfie, 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 careful. So yeah, thanks for that question and donation. I do feel, I mean, let me know, maybe, in the comments. Obviously, like I said, I have a lot of questions to get through here. Have these latest episodes been too much question and answering? Too much? It just feels a little bit, I'm not very much a person who talks about himself a lot. Normally, that's not a normal thing I like to do. So I sometimes step back. Have these episodes been too much about me, self-centered a little bit, or are you happy hearing questions and answers? A lot of these questions have been actually quite unique. So, a lot of the times I get repeat questions and things get, what's your favorite, this or that, and they'll get a little bit long-winded or boring. But a lot of these questions have been pretty unique. The motorcycle one last episode was pretty unique. So. Hopefully you've been enjoying. Obviously, we have a long way to go, many episodes to go, so the format can change willy-nilly regardless. But yeah, I'm going to continue answering some questions. This one from Nor_I, Norad. Do you like stuffed vegetables, like filled paprika with pulled pork and a crust of cheese? Filled paprika? I don't think you mean paprika, do you? I think you mean the peppers. Perhaps you put paprika on your peppers and fill them with pork. I can't say I've done much of such things. I did once. There are those little tiny sweet peppers you can get in a bag from the grocery store. I think I tried that with stuffed cheese and stuff. But it's not... I don't know, that seems more like a side dish to me than like a main course meal. But yeah, I have nothing against it. I did like a good, what are they called? What are they called? They're peppers, and they're stuffed, and they have a fried breading. They are called chile rellenos. Chile rellenos. With the double L that makes the yeah sound in Spanish. Chiles rellenos, sometimes called. I'm not sure, but yeah, I liked those a lot. Very much so. But I can't get them anymore because it has breading on the outside. I have been able to, and have had family members specifically for me, make... Oh god, I've fallen. Cheaty snow and cheaty snow. See, that's one of the ways. Well, I suppose there wouldn't be cheaty snow if there was lava underneath it, but... I have had family members make with the gluten-free breadcrumbs breading the chili rellenos. But those are good. Am I saying that correctly? I think I am. JJ. Yeah, I guess that would qualify as a stuffed pepper. But yeah. But yeah, I can't say lately that I've been able to enjoy such things as those. Speaking of food, this is a food episode. Speaking of food, this is from Nick. Since the move, have you found any places that you like to eat yet? Or have you been too busy? I have. I wouldn't say the place that I've moved is much of a food hub. But yeah, there are some good places. The majority of which are breakfast places. Good breakfasts in the area. Good gluten-free breakfasts as well. Excuse me, breakfasts. But yeah, I think I have. Certainly, when I first moved down here, I didn't have any of my utensils or cooking accoutrements, and I ate out pretty much for the entire week. So I had a good time finding all of the good places to eat. So yeah, there's definitely a few around here. For those of you wondering what I'm talking about, I haven't yet really revealed where I moved, but it will be soon. Come on, Wolfie, what are you doing? Go on through. There we go, you made it. But, yeah, I will shortly, probably. Definitely. Especially if I suppose I need... Careful, Wolfie! If I'm going to be doing any sort of drivey, vloggy thing, it's going to be quite obvious. I can't hide where I am. Hide the street signs. Woof! But yeah. Well, we'll probably discuss that shortly. We'll discuss it shortly. I'm going to be discussing other things shortly as well. Other things! Other events that have taken place. An anonymous donor says, what is your favorite kind of racing to watch? Lately, nothing. I used to go to NASCAR races. That was, give or take, I don't know why. I have an axe right here. I don't know why I'm taking so long like that. NASCAR races I went to, but that was, for those of you who've watched NASCAR races, can be hit or miss as far as the excitement is concerned. I don't know. I'm not sure. I did happen to turn on the ending of the Formula 1 Australian Grand Prix was over the weekend. I didn't realize that I had a channel that carried it, but I caught the end of it, and then Arnold Schwarzenegger came out and was going to interview the winners, the podium winners, and I was like, nope, change the channel. I do not need to listen to that guy talk. So that was interesting. I didn't watch the race, obviously, but I heard it was kind of a boring race. Like, half the field didn't even finish or start the race, even, due to mechanical issues or whatever. But Formula 1 can be interesting. But it seems to be that a single team or car tends to just own the field by 20 seconds or whatever, so that kind of takes a little bit of the intensity out of it. I did go to when I was little, I had an uncle who used to race, I think, or be involved somehow in, what are they called? The midgets? This is politically correct. That's just the name. The little not sprint cars, like the Sprint Cup, but little sprint cars with the big wings on top. They're sometimes called midgets. They race around just oval dirt tracks, very local type of stuff. I went to one of those. You get dirt in your face and in your teeth in the audience, which is very, very interesting. But I went to one of those. That's interesting if you can follow along. I don't know. I'll have to find out, speaking of moving to the new location, if there are any, like, local race tracks that just hold, like, Saturday night racing, just local events or something like that. Maybe there are. Maybe there aren't. I'm not sure. But that might be interesting. But yeah, I don't watch racing that much anymore. Unfortunately, or maybe fortunately, because my time has been filled with so many other things. I'm too busy racing myself. I'm on the team with Esteban. Yeah, Wolfie knows. Yeah, for those of you who caught last Saturday, the Formula 1 with Vintage Beef is back. So that's fun. I like doing the racing. The video game racing, that is. Let's see. AT asks, if you could design a NASA mission anywhere in the solar system, where would you send it? See, this is a question I think I've gotten before. No offense to AT here. Thank you very much for the donation and the question. But probably Europa. I suppose, speaking of space news, things that have been in the news is that NASA scientists, have once again found evidence that the moon of Jupiter, is it a moon of Jupiter or Saturn? Ganymede? God, see, there's so many moons around both Jupiter and Saturn, I get them all confused. But Ganymede, I think it's Jupiter, Probably there's more evidence that suggests that there is a subsurface warm ocean on Ganymede. This, a lot of the problem also with these news outlets is that they report the space news incorrectly, or they sensationalize it. Like, a lot of the headlines are, "Ooh, subsurface ocean found on the moon Ganymede." No, it hasn't been found, and it's not new, because there has been evidence in the past and hypotheses and theories that have been supported by evidence that say there could be a subsurface ocean on Ganymede. It's just that there is new, a new paper was published that further supports that. So that's another nail in the scientific coffin to support a subsurface ocean on Ganymede. But yeah, that was a recent thing that's happened. And, I suppose Ganymede, certainly Europa is on the top of the list, and it's good news to hear that for the next fiscal year for NASA that there has been monies, funding appropriated for a robotic mission to Europa. So yeah, probably Europa. I would say if I'm going to design a mission or fund a mission, I would say just do the Europa thing already. They're talking about... It would be interesting, although pretty expensive and somewhat difficult to send some sort of way to drill through the surface ice, which is like miles thick. It's not like going through the ice in the lake in your backyard or something like that. It's surface ice, to drill through the surface ice and then have some sort of submersible explore the liquid water underneath that would be an interesting thing. But I'm pretty sure that if and when there is a mission to Europa, it will probably just be a surface lander, is probably the best we'll be able to do at first. But that would be cool. That would be cool indeed. To the oceans of Europa, and to sleep, and continuing to the far lands in the morning. And awakeness. Woo! And continuing on this. Oh, I must have eaten... I just noticed I had full health. I must have eaten one of those Wolfie treats. Take it! That's the bad taste in my mouth. Mad Dormouse says, I tweeted at you some photos. I beg your pardon? That is inappropriate. No, I tweeted at you some photos of a Wolfie hat that I knit. I was wondering if you had seen it. Yes, I had. There have been a couple, actually. There was one Wolfie hat a couple years ago, I think I saw. Somebody tweeted at me. And then, yeah, there's a more recent one, which is basically the Wolfie hat with ears and the 3D glasses, I think. Very awesome. Thumbs up. Their question, Mad Door Mouse' actual question is, what is your opinion of onions? Onions. Me and onions go way back. No, I like onions. I'm not by themselves. Like, some people like onion rings. Obviously, I can't eat because breading, but I never liked onion rings or just onions as the main, like the Bloomin' onion at Outback. So not an onion ring aficionado. I don't like overly oniony things either. But I chop up onions and put it into a saute or a stir fry is good with onions. Sometimes things can be too oniony. Like, there's onion dips. You dip. There's onion dips, and French onion soup was kind of all right. I think I got a couple times French onion soup from like a restaurant that's like, soup comes with your meal. You have to have soup. So I'm like, okay, the French onion, whatever. But sometimes things can be a little bit too oniony, I suppose. But onions are all right by me. They are all right. I was kind of passing through. There's some archways there. I'm going to estimate we've probably passed well beyond our point of West Point, the West Point house of Architude, where we turned east I'm assuming that makes sense. Am I right? Unless it was back there. Let's just do a quick turnaround. Obviously, I've wandered north and south a little bit too much as well. Let's just explore a little bit. Yeah, no, we've passed it up. There's no point in searching, Kurtjmac. We are continuing to the far lands. There is no search to be done. But yes, that is my opinion of onions. Ragin Caucasian asks, has seeing an actual rocket launch change any of your thoughts on spaceflight? Oh, God! Oh, thanks, Wolfie. You kind of cushioned the blow to that little single block island. Changed my opinion? No, I've always been a big proponent and fan of spaceflight. It has only solidified my opinion, I suppose you could say. Would you say it's worth it to make a trip just to see a launch? Yes, I suppose it depends on the cost of the trip. And obviously, I've taken many trips. I've taken more trips to see a rocket launch that hasn't launched than I have taken trips to see a rocket launch that has launched. I tried for 3 space shuttle launches. 3, wasn't it? No, 2. I tried for 2 space shuttle launches. Or was it 3? 2. Okay, I considered, and I started to buy tickets to see. Yeah, I tried for an earlier. I had tickets for an earlier space shuttle mission. Got there, and it was scrubbed beyond the time I was there. I went down for STS 133, and it got scrubbed while I was down there, and then that one got scrubbed for like months. And then I was going to try to go down for the final space shuttle launch, 135. I had tickets. I was ready to go. I didn't get into the NASA social. I was like on their wait list, which like really made me want to go, but I didn't get into that. Unfortunately, I did serendipitously witness a space shuttle launch, but while I was on vacation in St. Petersburg, which is on the other side of the state. It was a midnight launch, and I was able to see off in the distance, the bright flame of the space shuttle go off into the distance, which was really quite cool, but nothing compared to actually being there. So never saw a space shuttle launch. I did go down for the Juno launch, got to see that through the NASA social. And then, of course, I also went down for the SpaceX, the first SpaceX Dragon capsule launch, which got scrubbed at T-minus 0 seconds, and missed that launch. So I suppose, yeah, there are launch chasers who spend quite a deal of money going to Florida or elsewhere to try to see a launch. And for them, it's obviously worth it. Of course, there's also people who travel the world to try to see eclipses. Speaking of which, on March 20th, there is a solar eclipse that I think Europeans will have the ability to see at least as a partial eclipse. I think the totality part of it goes somewhere that is less populated. I think it might go over like one of the Icelandic islands or something like that. This information could be completely false, but I know at least March 20th there is a solar eclipse. Perhaps you can correct me in my distances and locations, but I think Europe is favorable to see at least partial to that. March 20th. Keep that in mind. Look that up if you are interested. But yeah, there are people, eclipse chasers they're called. You know, they'll go to Egypt and Africa or Asia, or who knows, Antarctica, the Arctic and the poles and things like that, just to catch a solar eclipse. So I suppose it's all depends on your definition of the reward for the cost, and of course the risk of not seeing a rocket launch. But I would highly recommend it. That's why I always recommend, if you want a guaranteed spot for an up-close view of a rocket launch, to sign up for one of those. Oh, skills for one of those NASA socials. But speaking of which, careful, Wolfie. I don't know what I expected else over there. The Falcon Heavy, the Falcon 9 Heavy, which is basically 3 Falcon 9 rockets, SpaceX, is due to have its first flight, like a demonstration flight, test flight, soon. I've heard people say in the next couple months, but right now SpaceX is just saying 2015. That would be one of, if they do have a social, which it's not, that's the thing, it's not a NASA mission. I think it's just a test flight from SpaceX. So I'm not sure that they would or not. But if they do, that is one that I would highly consider signing up for. Of course, it also depends on where they decide to launch from. Would they launch? They don't quite have a launch site set up in Texas yet. It would probably be Florida, I'm assuming. I don't think they have... Do they? Do they have facilities to launch out of California, Vandenberg Air Force Base? I'm not sure. It would all depend on where, obviously, but that would be one I'd be interested in signing up for and trying to see a rocket launch again. Of course, those new test flights, new rocket, new design, new this, that, or the other, are probably the most likely to have delays because they want to make sure everything works correctly, and they have very tight restrictions on launch parameters, so that's always a question. But yeah, that's something I'd be interested in. But yeah, it certainly makes you more interested in it, and you get hooked on watching a rocket launch. Does manned or unmanned make a difference for you? It does. Obviously, there's a lot more riding, literally, humans riding on the manned missions. Of course, right now, the only manned missions you could watch are from Russia, but or China, I suppose, depending on what their plans are. So yeah, there's definitely more riding on that, and there's certainly a lot more of an emotional connection, which is why I wanted to see a space shuttle launch, because as opposed to seeing a rocket launch, oh neat, rocket launch, awesome, still awesome, a very physical and emotional experience to get pounded by the sound of a rocket launch. To have that, and then also realize there are 3 or 7 human beings sitting on the top of that thing that you're watching explode off the pad 3 miles away from you, and I say explode in the successful launch situation type of way, not bad explode. It is a controlled explosion, technically, the rocket launch. So, yeah, there's certainly more of an emotional connection there that I will definitely be interested. Certainly, like I said, maybe the Falcon Heavy, but maybe when the time comes where the Dragon capsule does get man-rated, I'm sure maybe they would host some sort of launch NASA-type social for the return of American manned space flights. That would be one to sign up for. Certainly would be very popular. The space shuttle NASA socials were very difficult to get in. They had thousands upon thousands upon thousands of applications, and only 50 or so people were chosen. I was on the wait list for the launch for the final space shuttle launch, STS-135, but I also ended up getting, from that wait list, I got chosen. They were able to invite a handful of people to watch the landing. It was like a midnight landing at Kennedy Space Center at the landing strip there, but I decided to opt out of that because some people did go, and it seems really cool. You're there. You are a witness to the final moments of the space shuttle as it came to a halt. That was the end of the space shuttle program. But I decided to opt out of that because, again, there was variability on, okay, they could land at Kennedy Space Center or they could land in California. Let's build our hidey hole over here. And also, it was just there. Certainly the rocket launch. The launch would have been far more impressive. Am I right, Wolfie? Yes? No? Maybe? So yeah, sometimes, I have seen video of people who did attend the landing. There was no, program. It was no 2-day event where they had speakers or anything. It was just show up, and you have access to the media area at the landing strip to watch the landing. I have seen video. I'm like, that would have been really cool to be able to say I was there, but I couldn't justify the expense at the time. But yeah, otherwise, yeah. If you do have a chance, like I was beginning to say, and the funds and the ability to watch a rocket launch, I would highly recommend it. I'm still surprised sometimes by the amount of people who, when I tweet out, "Oh, a rocket launch is going to be happening. Watch here on the live stream." People who respond back and are like, "Well, that's the first live rocket launch I've watched on TV or on the web or whatever." I'm like, "Good gravy! You gotta get on this, Get on this train. It's a fun train to be upon. So watch rocket launches. Watch rocket launches. That's my public service announcement. Excuse me. So yeah, I think we did what we needed to here. Let's make another shovel, as our shovel is about to break. Let's preemptively make sure our inventory is all set up. And this has been episode 460 of Farlands or Bust. Thank you so much for watching. Keep going to farlandsorbust.com to donate to Child's Play charity. And I do appreciate that. You're helping get toys, books, games to kids in hospitals around the world through childsplaycharity.org. childsplaycharity.org. And I will see you on Wednesday. My name is Kurt. Thanks so much for watching. I will see you, like I said, next time. Oh God, Wolfie! Whoa!